Surely you can join me, for old time's sake.
This is not the end. I'm not...
Finally, Emmerdale's own JR, bad boy Chris Tate, bows out.
Chris, what are you doing? Chris, you're frightening me. What are you... Chris!
Well, Chris has got a lot to be depressed about, but, you know, he's tried to kill himself twice already.
Oh, my God! Chris, just speak to me. What are you doing?
Third time lucky. Well done, mate.
Well, we didn't really want to kill him at all. It was Peter's decision.
Lots of actors, they really do want to go out in a blaze of glory, and I think Peter did.
13 and a half years. Your last line is whore.
Oh.
Chris Tate, Emmerdale's notorious bad boy, is no more, poisoning himself and framing his wife Charity for his murder. Join us as we go behind the scenes for his dramatic exit, and we reveal the truth about Chris Tate and the actor who plays him.
If my son is dead, so help me, I will make you pay.
When he's sitting in that wheelchair, he's an absolute you want to take a wheel off and push him over a cliff.
You understand?
He was the evil man in the wheelchair, sort of Ironside with a bad twist.
I'm telling you, you'll wish that you were dead!
We'll rewind back to the early days of the man we love to hate.
Get that muck off there! And the other vehicles! Nobody leaves this yard till it's done!
His womanizing.
And how would you like me to kiss you? On the cheek, like I did last night, like a grateful little secretary? Or on the mouth?
You decide.
Because he's a and girls like them.
And we remember some of the murky deeds that have catapulted Chris Tate to notoriety.
Dear, dear. Hitting a cripple. That can't be good for your image.
I hate you.
Captivating millions of Emmerdale viewers. Bad boy Chris first appeared in Emmerdale as a member of the Tate family in 1989. He started as he meant to go on.
What the hell do you think you're doing? You had your warning. This is theft.
He was never introduced as a bad person, but he was always going to be slightly sullied, I think is the word, because his father was a hugely successful businessman, and he wasn't.
The way you're carrying on, you'll put Tate's out of business, and that won't be a bad thing.
For the past 13 and a half years, Chris has been played by RADA-trained actor Peter Amery.
Hello. Any part when you're acting is great. But I got a phone call, you know, would you audition, which I did, and went to the screen test and did a very interesting, should I say, screen test with Leah Bracknell, who plays my sister Zoe. She was fantastic, as she's always been. I thought I'm going to have to go something to keep up with her.
I'm sort of worried, Shut, because of the story. Is that what you're wanting?
Peter, if you can sort of glance up, see Leah, and throw her a warning.
Walking into the green room there of something that's very established is very nerve-wracking. He had Arthur Pentelow and Ronnie McGill, Sheila Mercier, Fraser Hines. They're all sat there, and they've been doing it. They know it backwards, and you're definitely the new boy.
Hi.
Good morning, sir. What can I get you?
Actually, I wanted to ask if I could use your phone.
If you saw Peter when he first arrived, yes, he looks about 12.
I'll let you into one of my darkest family secrets. My stepmother's such a lousy cook, she can burn tea.
You can make your own.
Well, that's the second family secret. I actually take after my stepmother. Now, I know it's genetically tricky, but it's a fact. Why do you think I keep asking you to eat with me?
Chris's family, the Tates, were introduced to spice up Emmerdale in an attempt to improve the programme's ratings.
Couldn't you wait till Neil was even off the property?
Well, come on, where's mine?
You don't think I'd leave it where you go looking, do you?
We felt that we needed new money family, mother, father, son, you know. But then, of course, soap being soap, you have to slightly ring the changes, so mother's not quite the actual mother, and the son is, you know, going to be difficult to handle. What we wanted was a power base for the whole village.
I do hope this will be taken in the right spirit.
Why shouldn't they take it in the right spirit? Just look around you at all the happy, smiling faces.
I think the Tates brought Dallas style, big money, big lipstick in Kim's case, a bit of glamour, and complete ruthlessness on a scale that we'd never seen before.
Do you know, I feel quite sorry for you sometimes. Everything's so black and white with you, so cut and dried.
Don't knock it, Kim. You're doing pretty well out of it.
Yes. Yes, you just keep doing the deals, Christopher. Don't let anybody's feelings get in the way.
He's always had a chip on his shoulder, and it's pretty obvious that chip was Frank, his father. You know, he's lived in Frank's shadow all his life.
Let's keep business and family life separate, okay?
Sorry, Dad. No can do.
You can't work for the man who helped his mother to die peacefully.
And carried on with another woman while he was doing it.
It wasn't like that.
I think Chris and Frank were probably more alike than they wanted to admit. I mean, they were both very strong, business-minded people, and both very stubborn.
You've chucked all your principles out of the window since you met her.
You won't come between us, Chris. So don't even try.
Dad's been trying to find out in his usual subtle way if I'm interested in Neil. I didn't have the heart to tell him that if a man gets to Neil's age without being married, he might not be interested in me or in any other woman.
Oh, I think Neil has an eye for the ladies. Don't you, Kim?
I hadn't given...
By 1993, despite the introduction of the Tates, Emmerdale was in crisis. With falling ratings and its future in doubt, producers turned to Brookside's Phil Redmond.
At the time, my name was hot, and so, you know, we went over there and had a bit of fun. I said to John, I think the thing we need to do is to do something quite spectacular that would actually interest the viewers, but would also arrest the criticism from the industry itself. And so that's what I said to him. I said, what we need to do is drop a plane on the village, you know.
The Emmerdale plane crash was a TV event and a stunning success. Overnight, the ratings doubled.
I do think that episode was kind of one of the best episodes ever. It cost £1 million. It was phenomenal. For soap to have done that was absolutely incredible. But it changed a lot of lives for a lot of Emmerdale characters.
The crash gave producers the chance to shake up the cast.
We identified a number of people that would probably leave the show and as a result of this accident, and there was a number of people who would be affected by it.
Chris! Just before we started filming that particular episode, we were called in one by one, and it was basically, you either lived or you were going to die.
We're going to get you out of this, son, don't worry.
It's in media myth now that, you know, the plane crash came in and decimated the cast and we got rid of everybody, but it's not. You know, I think there was only one actor whose contract we didn't renew. There was, I think, 3 left, but 2 were already going. And the biggest decision I made was killing Seth's dog.
It was Seth's horse, Samson, that pulled the injured Chris from the wreckage.
I must say, Peter did some wonderful scenes. We actually filmed it in the November. It was freezing cold in the village. He's up to here in concrete and whatever.
It's okay, Chris. It's gonna be okay.
Doing superb emotional stuff when it's below 10.
Don't try and talk too much. Just rest.
I was lying there, underneath the rubble. I thought it was all over. Thought I wasn't going to see daylight again. Never see you again.
I'm here, Chris. I'm here.
We'd never really had a disabled person in the show, and we thought actually it'd be quite interesting for a rich man or a rich man's son, if he was paralysed. We thought there was good storytelling opportunities there.
So, what's new then?
I've been talking to the doctors, and it's a bit grim.
What do you mean?
They've told me that you'll probably never walk again.
I've got a sort of canny idea that it was Phil Redmond that maybe decided, right, we'll have that in a wheelchair. But I don't know.
Difficult moment when you're talking to an actor saying, well, you have been a Lothario and this, that, and the other, but now actually this is what's going to happen. But your character won't change, you know. And actual fact, you'll have a couple more layers to add on to whatever you do. Probably helped him, and I think he's, you know, he's done a good job to carry you through all that time.
But we've got to be positive now about things. I thought I'd have a bungalow built. Every convenience available. You're going to get the best, Chris.
No, you just don't get it, do you? Now, get out and leave me alone.
We can't just leave you like this.
Go, now, and don't come back.
Chris, please, this isn't easy for us.
It's easy for you to walk out of here. I can't. Just go. And take these with you.
For Peter to be told, well, you're going to be in a wheelchair, and I think we all thought, oh, this will only last a few weeks. You know what soap's like. They try these things out, and that'll be it. But I remember Peter used to tie himself up in a chair so he could learn not to use his legs or move them.
But it wasn't for a few weeks, and it was a big challenge for Peter.
I didn't like going into the wheelchair. I mean, if I'm blatantly honest, I thought that was the start of a character assassination.
We did talk to him in advance, and I think he saw it as a challenge. I think, you know, he saw the possibilities with it as a character, and in fact, you know, it certainly added an edge. I mean, you know, when he was being threatening, and this is a measure of his talent as an actor, that when he was being threatening, he was doing it from a level that is unusual.
All I'm trying to say is it won't happen again.
Oh, I'm going to make damn sure it doesn't. I don't give second chances, not when my business is at stake. Oh, Kim, she might like your boyish charms about the place, but it does nothing for me. You've got 2 minutes to be off the premises.
Chris was literally cut down to size because he was then sitting down and he's literally looking up at everybody.
Well, don't count it in here, put it away.
It was great if you had a hangover. I was just thinking, oh, God, I wish I was in that wheelchair, because, you know, you stood up and I've got my 6-inch heels on as Mandy, and he's there and he's got the lovely comfy chair to sit in. It's like, you know, you can have your hangover, Pete, I can't.
There's Richard Thorpe's a great one for it. He said, oh, God, I wish I could have your job. I'd always be sat down.
A fact Chris Tate's enemies, the Dingles, used to their advantage.
Sure, that Tate.
You forget he's in a wheelchair half the time. He even has physical fights. He even takes Kane on in a wheelchair.
The police are right behind you, Kane. One finger on me and they've got you.
Yeah, go on then, Kane, kill him, but you'll have to kill me first!
There's never been much love lost between the Tates and the Dingles.
I'll get you! You and that tart! I love you both!
Chris Tate's the man on the hill with the power and the money, and Zach's the underclass with no money and no power, and consequently, it's you know, that never the twain shall meet.
Unless they're seeking revenge.
Tell me what you're gonna do. What do you think I'm gonna do? You tell me what you're gonna do.
I'm gonna make sure that you never have peace of mind ever again. From now on, when you wake up, you're gonna ask yourself this question. Is today the day that I'm gonna pay for all the heartache and misery that you've caused the Dingle family? I don't care where you are, or what you're doing, or how good your security is, or who you've got with you. 'Cause I'm watching. I'm waiting and I'm watching.
I think he's thoroughly misunderstood. You know, he just goes about things head first and the wrong way. He thinks he can get away with things. I don't think he means it. He doesn't mean bad by it. But he needs someone there to tell him you're doing this wrong. And by that impression, he gives it that he's bad. But, you know, I don't think he is. I quite like the bloke, really.
Along with his enemies, Chris also has his friends, none more so than his sister, Zoe.
Hi, Chris.
Great to see the place being put to good use while Dad's away.
Look, I better get along to the wool pack. I have a feeling Alan's going to put up a fight to the death over his appalling well. I'll see you tonight.
OK, see you later. He knows everything about Zoe. He knows it before she knows it, in a way. He might not like it, but he knows it. And that's the thing about Chris and Zoe. They know each other better than anyone. Sorry to interrupt. I didn't realise you were still working.
That's okay. We've got some great news anyway.
Have we?
Chris has decided to give Andrew another chance.
I wonder what changed his mind.
Zoe and Chris are a very strange pair. I don't know if you've ever seen 6 Feet Under, but there's something of the brother-sister relationship in that. It's like they're unnaturally close, but because she's lesbian, I don't think she fancies him. They're not going to go down that route.
Let's forget about Chris. Start concentrating on us. I think he thought it was disgusting. He was appalled. I think he couldn't think of anything worse. What's worse, and what's sort of one of the key things about Chris, he hates anything that kind of brings shame upon him or the family. And he always thinks, how will it look?
I think they sort of clung together, and I think actually psychologically speaking, if you got a dad like Chris, that's actually quite realistic, that you'd be damaged kids.
Chris's devotion to Zoe was obvious during her decline into schizophrenia.
In a pillar of fire, to give them light. I feel pretty, I'm witty and gay. I feel pretty.
She's
I feel pretty.
schizophrenic, isn't she?
I can't make any kind of diagnosis on the basis of one short interview.
Poor sweet Zoe.
When he went to the hospital and sobbed when they got the diagnosis, it was incredible. And I can remember he put his hand up against, the two-way mirror, and you're seeing Zoe's completely out of it by this point, at the worst part of her illness before she gets medication. It was back to that babes in the wood feel I had about Chris and Zoe.
But there was certainly no love lost between Chris and his far east stepmum, Kim Tate, played by Chris's real-life partner, Claire King.
You evil.
Chris!
You really excelled yourself this time. You didn't even have the decency to phone.
Why should I? Is anything the matter?
We're visiting Mr. Tate.
Well, look, I'm sorry. We can only allow close relatives to see him at the moment.
I'm his son.
Now, I'd need a flowchart to explain all the, machinations in Tate land. But, at one point, Chris got Tate haulage off of his dad, and then his dad double-crossed him. It's just like Dynasty. And got the business back from him. And then him and Kim were fighting over money and the will. And, he was blackmailing her, and he knew that she was having an affair, and he wanted the stud farm off of her. And it all got really, really complicated. What we just liked to see at home was the complete hatred, because it proved that it didn't matter how much money that you got, you could still be completely miserable.
Are you all right?
Well, of course she's all right.
Mrs. Tate has had quite enough stress for somebody in her condition.
What ruddy condition?
We wanted to tell you, Christopher, but, well, in light of your recent behaviour, we didn't know how you'd react. I'm expecting your father's child.
The relationship with his stepmother, I always felt was very dodgy. I think that he's harboured secret desires for her. I think it would always have been difficult for us to explore them at 7 o'clock at night. But I think what Peter did was just create a dimension that you thought, ooh, this is interesting, which I thought was clever. So I don't think it was in the writing. I think it's just one of these things that grew organically,
So, where do we take it from here?
I'm not quite sure what you mean.
I used to find you very attractive, Chris. Yeah, there was one particular moment, I think, between them where she was winding him up. And I seem to remember it was in the office at Home Farm. And she got him on the hook, she was reeling him in. Some women find helpless men irresistible.
Oh, I'm far from helpless.
Good. Because I think you'd like to be in Frank's shoes in more ways than one. As far as I remember, the last line goes, I have to tell you, Chris, the thought of you and I together, and they get closer and closer towards a kiss, and he's going for it, and they're about an inch away, makes me feel really... And she just goes, sick, like this. And it was quite funny to do, actually. I enjoyed it.
What the hell are you playing at?
Did you ever think, for 1 minute, I'd have chosen you above your father?
Chris always had this sort of slight obsession with Kim and what Kim got away with, how Kim had become the lady of the manor and basically taken his place in the Tate dynasty. the relationship between Chris and Kim could have gone on forever. It was a fantastic storyline, and the reason that it worked so well was you never quite knew what the relationship was.
Cheers to life.
I think the whole Tate family are a little bit unhinged. Frank was an alcoholic. Zoe's schizophrenic.
But there's no relief. Now he's gone. I thought the pressure would be off.
So by their standards, Chris isn't exactly, you know, mad, but he's not normal either. He's always been twisted and a bit bonkers. But then when his dad died, he was suicidal. He completely lost the plot.
You're welcome. I'll leave you to it. A wide, open field. What will people tell you about your mummy and daddy?
I'll tell him not to listen to gossip.
Peter always played his scenes with Claire King really well, but I still can't believe he actually pulled her in real life.
You need me, Kim.
Being married to her made no difference whatsoever, because you can't afford to take your work home with you. Otherwise you go doolally.
I was beginning to think you weren't coming.
A whiskey? Or would you prefer a G&T?
I haven't got time for this, Chris. What do you want? It was good fun actually working against each other on the set. And everyone says, oh, did you take your work home with you? I said, well, no, because you can sort of get all your arguments out at work.
Claire finally left Emmerdale in 1999, with Kim Tate making a dramatic exit.
After all, it is your big day in court. You'll need your beauty sleep.
You're a fool, Chris. I think it sort of started with, we were both drinking whiskey and things. I was coming back to take a whole load of cash that we'd got.
Don't worry. I'm sure James will appreciate having a martyr in the family.
She beats him over the head with a bowling ball, which actually was made of foam, but it was a bowling ball. Knocks him out, tries to pull him out of his wheelchair. I mean, it's just horrible stuff, really. Where is it?
Please.
You would believe that she absolutely detests him and that he can't stand the sight of her on screen.
Here.
And in actual fact, they absolutely adore each other. Absolutely adore each other.
Wherever you find a bad boy, you'll find a pretty girl.
Afternoon.
Chris Tate's had plenty of love action.
What do you want?
There's been
Kathy.
Next, I think there was Rachel, obviously.
Kelly.
Stop playing games.
I'm not. Laura.
He didn't have a thing with her as well, did he?
I've only been married 3 times, haven't I?
Well, you should know, Peter. The first to fall for his charms was the lovely Kathy Merrick.
Hello, what are you doing here?
I've come to take you away from all this.
Which he did.
We're going to Skipdale.
She played hard to get out, she did, Kathy, I seem to remember. It took a lot of boxes of chocolates and a lot of flowers.
Forever and ever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he wrote, when he'd married Kathy, he wrote a song. And he was actually walking then.
Kathy, you're here. I'd like you to meet Peter, Dave, Steve, your musicians.
My musicians. What are you talking about?
Chris was also part of some of the most cheesy storylines Emmerdale's ever had. I mean, I remember when he wrote a song for his first wife, Kathy. I think it was called Just This Side of Love or something like that. Who can forget them performing that in the village hall? Chris on the keyboard, Kathy just slaughtering it.
Have you got some nice shots of Peter standing wide-legged, playing the keyboards? Great stuff.
Never lies. Let me
Chris, of course, is a songsmith as well as everything else, and wrote a lovely love song for Kathy, his then wife, to sing in the village hall, which was as bad as Eurovision. I think quite a few of us curled our toes at that moment, but it was an outpouring of love. It was sincere, so we have to take it as that.
Kathy's wedding was a big, lavish affair, wasn't it? Oh, crikey, I know where you're going with this. Yes. We had a helicopter. I knew you were going. We had a helicopter that Frank, with all his money, had landed. I seem to remember a certain song playing.
And that awful song returned, you know, when Frank got them a helicopter for their honeymoon, and we had to sit there and endure it. The song, and then all these scenes of them kissing and them doing lovey-dovey stuff, made me sick.
Melandra was asked, go up there and what do you have to do? Just snog. What do you mean, just snog? Just snog for a couple of minutes, no dialogue, while we don't know how much of this music we're using.
It was very Jason and Guy. And she was the perfect, beautiful blonde, and so was he.
It was Chris that actually did the dirty on Kathy in the end when he met up with Rachel, who he decided, that's the person for me. There's a famous scene at a bonfire party, then Kathy spotted Chris and Rachel kissing.
She goes in for the kiss, and who's watching but Kathy? True soap style.
Come here. I'm going to enjoy you teaching me.
Yeah, I'll be a good teacher.
And I shall be a very good teacher.
I want to talk to you. Alone.
My most memorable scene with Chris is when Kathy finds out about the affair that Chris and Rachel are having.
Rachel, get out of here now before I throw you out!
Rachel's staying here with me.
Don't you think I mean it?
Kathy, calm down.
It starts off as a sort of like an argument and evolves into this huge cat fight.
That's enough! Kathy!
We kind of both apologised to each other before we began. It was awful. We had to kind of sort of hurt each other.
Off me, Kathy!
Kathy!
It took about 2 hours to film. We had stunt coordinators there. She was yanking at my hair. I was scratching her eyes out.
Stop it, Kathy!
Out my way! I think we broke the set. I think I ended up bleeding.
Don't hurt her!
Hurt her to damn well kill her!
And the scene ended.
Stop!
Stop it! She's pregnant!
And this is the first of the viewers and Kathy knowing of the fact that I am actually pregnant with his baby, and it was just such a dramatic scene.
And I threw Chris out the wheelchair, which I said, I can't do this.
I'm moving back here. Make no mistake about it. Just because she's pregnant and I'm in a wheelchair isn't going to stop me.
And when the scene was shown and aired on the screen, a lot of you said to me, why didn't you just throw him over a cliff?
Kathy and Chris parted, leaving the coast clear for Rachel.
Go on. I love you, Rachel. Will you marry me?
Rachel, wife number 2, who was also mother of Joseph. All I can remember, she got married with a yoghurt pot on her head.
You look beautiful.
So do you.
Despite having a child, this marriage didn't last long either. Chris wanted more children, but Rachel didn't.
You flaming cow.
What?
What? You've been seeing somebody behind my back.
What?
You're on the pill.
I think for Chris, women was always a power thing. You know, he's not exactly, classic handsome man. So he's always wanted women. You know, he's never managed to follow his father in the business sense of things. So he tried to, pull a few women instead, and it didn't work either.
You're looking good as usual.
I know.
Drink?
Chris's solution was to buy himself a girl. Enter ex-prostitute Charity Dingle.
Tell me about yourself.
You don't have to chat me up, you know.
Go on.
Dropped out of school, didn't go with my dad, did a bit of drifting before I found a way to earn some money. How about you?
Stayed in school, got on with my dad, and didn't do much drifting.
You know, I think there's a lesson there somewhere.
You don't sound very sorry for yourself.
I don't do self-pity.
I remember the first time I ever had to work with him. We had to kiss. And I was very embarrassed and nervous because it was my first ever screen kiss. And I came out in a horrible red rash all over my chest and my neck. And makeup all made fun of me. They were trying to powder it down, make it look less offensive than it was.
Anyway, I'm all right. Here I am drinking 15-year-old malt with a nice bloke in a big house.
A nice bloke.
Oh, am I wrong?
No, you're not. When I like someone, I can be nice.
Come on, then, be nice to me, eh?
And that was my first ever encounter with Lord Amory.
Their wedding was a very interesting affair.
Lavish is a word that's sort of too little to describe the Chris and Charity do, because, I mean, it's like white trash has cash.
Right, Tommy?
Oh, aye.
I think I was told she was dressed to look kind of like Madonna. I don't know if that was Emma's idea or if it was a scripted thing, I don't know, but she looked completely bizarre. You know, Chris is pleased as punch, and Zoe just, it reiterates and underlines everything for about the mistake he's making. It's completely vulgar and over the top, and she just doesn't want to see it happening.
Shall we step out? Let's step out. The frock look nice on their own, please.
Oh. I think one of the low points for Zoe was when Chris and Charity actually got married. I think she really thought, despite what she felt for Charity, she really felt it was the wrong thing to do. I think she thought it was going to be a repetition of Kim and Frank, and that Charity was going to take him for a ride.
I don't think it's very suitable.
Certainly doesn't leave a lot to the imagination.
If you've got it, you might as well flaunt it.
I'm sorry, am I late?
It's half an hour. Rodney's made sure that they can still fit us in.
You look wonderful. For a serial womanizer, there are always temptations.
You look gorgeous in that.
I look even better out of it.
An offer he accepted.
Come here.
To be fair, Chris was really, really good to her. So it was a bonus for Kelly. I thought it'd be easy. Never thought I'd start to like him.
Tate! He's a scheming little toad.
Oh, but he's been really kind to me, Mandy.
Yeah, well, let's see how kind he is when you tell him the real truth.
With Kelly Windsor, I think it was the typical younger girl flaunting it round the office, and he thought he could buy her. And again, it ended in tragedy. He got it wrong.
Chris Tate's had a bit of a sexual history, although he's gone to the dark side a couple of times as well. I can remember he tried to force himself on Kathy.
This rape scene challenged both the actors and the producers.
Look, I love you. Can't you see that?
There was a rape scene filmed which got talked about in the press, but I think the Emmerdale producers sort of chickened out in the end because it was 7 o'clock and they felt it would have got them into a lot of trouble, and the scenes were cut.
And it ends on a sort of door, back of a door, and you just hear voices off when we'd actually shot the scene inside. But whoever it was in charge said no, they're not going to show it.
No! God, can't you stand me even touching you anymore? Kathy!
Chris's dark side re-emerged 6 years later with Linda Glover.
I'm going to do you something really special.
And what would that be?
What are you doing here?
I just dropped by.
I was very scared about doing anything with Peter because I just thought he was going to think, I don't want to work with her. You know, this is like, she's 16, she doesn't know what she's doing, you know. But, you know, he was great with me. He was really nice to me. So it was built over a very long time, the storyline. Where's Biff?
He's doing overtime.
Did you let yourself in?
I think you and I should have a talk.
You have no right to be here. Because there was a lot of stuff in the press that why can't Linda just walk away? He's in a wheelchair, but that undermines obviously everybody who's in a wheelchair, saying that they can't have any power, and it was very hard. We had to do it delicately.
I don't need to do anything!
If you want to keep your husband employed and keep this cosy cottage, you do. It's awfully cold out there.
I'm going to tell someone.
You better start packing then. We don't have to fall out, Linda. It could be our little secret. And who knows, you might even enjoy it.
Chris never gets away with things completely. I remember when he tried to rape Linda Glover, and Ned Glover just went mental and took him to a quarry, kept him captive for ages, threatened to shoot him.
Now start the car. It was a November night, very, very cold. I'm driving to the old quarry and I'm going to blow his head off with the old 12-bore. And we're in the car, and on the close-up shots, when he was his point of view and the camera was just on me, he'd be pulling faces.
Now, I can't, and never have done, for the like of me, look Johnny straight in the face and not find him amusing. But he's got one of those faces that's there. So when he's there with this gun, well, we couldn't do it. We kept corpsing.
While we're out of the car, I noticed it's a lovely puddle, which was about 6-7 inches deep with water and a bit of film of ice on top of it. And I thought, yeah, you're going in that, mate, because he would have done it to me. Right, out.
I need my chair.
I said out.
I need my chair out the hotel! Please! Ah!
You won't be needing that again. So I eventually dragged him out and laid him in this huge puddle, just body length. And he laid there for a good 3 hours and never complained once.
1:30 in the morning, I'm lying on the deck, and there's snow and ice about the place, and he's there with a shotgun, holding it against me, and I'm absolutely freezing, and Frank appears to say, don't do it, blah, blah, blah. And I looked across, and everyone's eating fish and chips.
Chris was rescued in the nick of time, but unfortunately for him and for Peter, being kidnapped was becoming a habit.
The kidnapping storyline where Liam, who was played by Mark Powley, who was great, and I didn't have time to screen test with Mark, and they cast him, and he was just fantastic, and we got straight into it, and we got on well, and we had actually a period of time, because they took the kidnapping time as real time, to actually get into it, and that was great fun. I mean, it was scorching hot down in the cellar, which we filmed just up here, but I guess that would be probably one of my favourites.
Are you deaf or stupid? Talk to me!
All right. Could I have some soap and a change of clothes?
I really remember the stuff that Peter did when he had the brother, Liam.
Please?
Peter started getting thinner and thinner. Now, I don't know whether that was a great job on makeup's behalf or Peter just starved himself, because he just looked really gaunt. And I do remember just like his look as the weeks grew, went on, that he looked more dishevelled, as he would have done, sitting locked in some basement. But it was good. It was good. I remember that.
Please, just let me go.
Are you begging?
Yeah. I'm begging.
I think some of the best scenes I really enjoyed was the... it's nothing to do with Kim, actually. It was where he was kidnapped by his estranged brother.
No, nice big smile. Say cheese.
Get stuffed.
It was good stuff. Very dark, but very well written stuff and very well acted stuff, yeah.
Thing is, I can't let you go now, Chris. Can I?
We used to do 2 or 3 days in there, and sometimes it would get horrendously hot.
But Sister Zoe eventually found him.
We've got to get the gun off him.
It's too dangerous.
And she found him in the cellar, in kind of appalling state. And then she shot Leah.
So finally, after over 1,000 episodes as bad boy Chris, actor Peter Amery prepares for his last scenes at Emmerdale.
The thinking is always, if you have a popular character, it's quite good to kill them rather than let them drift off. We created this really devious, plot whereby he commits suicide and blames his wife.
It's a very long-running story that'll see Chris leave the show. It kind of started with the arrival of Debbie, Charity's daughter in the village.
And Chris thinks, obviously, it's a punters, that has got Charity pregnant, and when in actual fact it's Kane.
That was a really big turning point. Debbie, in that way, brought Kane and Charity back together. Chris became astonishingly kind of paranoid.
Get out of my way. Maybe if you were here more, maybe if you actually talked to me more, I wouldn't have to rely on someone else to keep an eye on you. I could trust my wife.
So he wasn't making it up about following me then?
On top of which, he's just been told he's going to die with a brain tumour.
Well, we do have a much better idea of what the problem is.
So there is a problem.
The scan has revealed that you have a brain tumour. With your permission, we would like to perform a biopsy and ascertain the level of malignancy.
I don't think you can get much worse than that, can you?
On leaving the show, Peter will be playing out his last scenes with the people he's worked with for over 13 years.
I think the worst one to have to play was saying goodbye to his sister when he knew that what his intention was and he was going to die.
I don't think you should be on your own tonight, not in this state of mind.
This has all been building up.
I also was saying goodbye to Leah, and Leah also knew that I was saying goodbye to her, and that was horrible to do.
Come here.
I love you.
Oh, and I love you. I think there's never been a day in 13 and a half years when I've not looked forward to coming in and working with Peter. Never a row, never a crossword. I've always loved working with Peter. Couldn't have a better workmate.
Zoe.
You know where I am.
The job of directing Chris's finale falls to Pip Short, who takes Peter through his final scenes in the studio. In this one, Chris is setting the trap that frames Charity for his death.
Open the safe.
When you've played a character for as long as I've played Chris Tate, you do get to know him and you get to hate him and like him and respect him. I think the saddest thing that I had to do was then deliberately kill it.
So by the time you...
Chris's death scene takes place in Home Farm. He is to poison himself, framing Charity as the killer. Peter and Emma rehearse this scene in detail to make his final exit as dramatic as possible.
You don't want a lot.
I'm not going to let you throw it all away, Chris. I'm just not going to let you do it. I'm not. Chris, what are you doing? Chris, you're frightening me. What are you... Chris! Chris! Oh, my God! Chris, just speak to me. What are you doing?
Whore. Which isn't a bad exit. 13 and a half years, your last line is whore. And that's the shortest line I think I've ever had to say. It's a word that will stick on my mind.
Even though his death scene is completed, Peter still has some earlier scenes to record. This one with Emma and Charlie Webb, who plays Debbie, will be his last time on the set of Emmerdale.
Last scene was terrible. It was on location and just totally frightening and well, he's dead. And that's me done. I'd like to think Chris has been a character that's worked within the programme, and I hope I've played it, as best as I can, under the sort of speed that you do it. But I don't think Emmerdale will miss him, no. I think he'll become, hopefully he won't be forgotten, he'll just become a part of a chapter.
At the end of 13 and a half years, producer Steve Frost joins Peter on the set as the bad boy finally bows out.
It's kind of impossible, really, to kind of sum up Peter's contribution to Emmerdale. In 13 years, the Tates and Chris particularly have become synonymous with the show.
You can't believe that you've actually ended it. I get tearful when I think about it. It's very sad.
I think Peter will be absolutely fine because he's such a good actor. I could imagine him in some big ITV drama.
Peter is so good at making things real. He's so good at playing bad. He doesn't want the viewer's sympathy. He doesn't care. He will play tough.
Because the party's Thursday night.
When you're around.
Jobs are good, yeah.
All right then.
I could see Peter slipping nicely into, you know, Frost's overcoat in a detective series or something like that. He's got that kind of oily charm.
I don't know. Maybe a job at the National, maybe Panto, who knows?